time.
All right, so we have Yeah, That Feeling by Anoushka Roberts. She's from Mumbai, and we're ready to listen to her submission.
How do I tell him I'm terrified of feelings, especially this butterfly giving kind, the stuff they talk of in movies and in books, the stuff I feel every time I see him. Oh, yeah, that feeling. How do I tell him that every word he says, every deed he does, he collects the shards of my broken heart, building them up to read the four-lettered word that makes me squeamish. Oh, yeah, that feeling. And maybe he'll see it in my eyes when I look at him, or when I try to be as close as I can be to him, because saying it out loud makes it really real, but not saying it makes it that much stronger to feel. I guess that's how I tell him in my own way, by noting down all the things he has to say, by giving him some flowers on random days, by saying, like, when I really just mean. Oh, yeah, that feeling.
All right.
Such a sweet song. Really, can I start, Adi?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's a really sweet song. The vocal delivery and emotional delivery is what really stood out to me for this song. I also found it interesting that I'm not sure Anoushka is the writer, right? Anoushka's on the, hopefully she's on the call. I'm not sure if they knew that it's an AABA. It's not a verse chorus song, which is really cool. And that just means, for those, we didn't talk too much about song form yet, but it just means that it's a verse and then a refrain, which would be, oh yeah, that feeling. Verse, refrain, oh yeah, that feeling. And then the bridge, which is, maybe he'll see it in my eyes. That sounded like a key change. I don't think it was, but and then a verse refrain at the end. So it was a really great, strong song form. And I would say my only kind of criticism or just constructive feedback would be having a clear rhyme scheme. It was there sometimes, but not always. I did like when you did rhyme, like squeamish with feeling. It's great. Or just mean with feeling. That's awesome. But I just wanted a clear, I'm looking over at the lyrics here, a clear rhyme scheme. And then also just in terms of melodic rhythm, focusing on when you're saying, if you were to casually or just conversationally say, how do I tell him I'm terrified of feelings? Where those stresses are in your regular speech, like just when you're speaking, that those should go with the melody. So the more important words or the more important syllables or stresses of the words are held out longer or higher in pitch in the melody and things like that. I mean, that's a little detailed, but overall, really great song. You did a great job showing and telling a story.
And we
Thank you so
have, thanks so
much.
much, Valerie. We have Anoushka here with us.
Oh, great. Hi, Anoushka.
Hi. Thank you so much. It's an honor, absolute honor.
Adi, do you want to critique as well? Or there she is.
Oh, there. Hi, Anushka. So nice to have you here.
Hi.
Did,
Yeah,
yeah.
congrats on such a wonderful song. And as Valerie said, the song form is actually with AABA. We don't see that much often. Like we see very verse, chorus, pre-chorus, that kind of structure.
Yeah.
So this was very refreshing. I think somebody commented it could be right out of a Disney movie, and I also got a very musical theater, that kind of vibe. My daughter is a huge fan of Frozen, so it sounded like one of those songs. So it definitely reminded me of that. And your voice is so pretty. It was really, really refreshing to hear that.
Thank you. Thank you.
The modulation, that was so that's it's a pivot chord modulation where you took one from that key and then you modulate it to I think the fifth
Yeah.
up, fifth down, or something. Um, and so it went up to a new key and then you did the second cycle in that key. That was amazing, and I think everybody sort of perked up. It was like everybody's ears perked up. That was really interesting. I really like the sort of arc of your melody, because and as Valerie said, the melodic rhythm, because da, 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 na, da, na, na. So it's like there is this lilt to it which really got me hooked onto it. I just kept sort of looking for it. So that was like really spot on. I think, yeah, for me those were very specific things. And I think for production, I feel like this was like you just sort of put some things together, right? Which is
I
totally
have
fine.
never
But I
produced
think
anything before, so this was like a
don't. But
phone
that's
recording of my voice.
yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
from that point of view, so there's no point going into the mix and the other things. But I think even the string, the melodies you've chosen are taken from your main I could tell that there is a link there, which is that's what we're talking about with production. You can't just have another section which has no meaning. So even if you're taking another section, pick and choose from your main sort of raw materials of your main melody lines and your main harmonic structures. That adds a lot of value to the listener, because the listener may not know much about the technical aspects of music, but they do pick up on these things and they sort of correlate them, and then they sort of like get hooked on to the other aspects of the song. So overall, like a great job, and really good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, congratulations, Anoushka. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, then.
Anoushka, do you have any questions for Adi and Val?
If that's okay, can I ask, so you mentioned about a little bit of the rhyming structure.
Mhm.
So it just came up as a question. So certain words can be like tweaked in terms of how it's pronounced in a particular song. Like a lot of times rap includes that, right? Eminem was mentioning that it was some interview of his, I remember, that he was talking about how it's about how you pronounce that certain word. So how much of a liberty do you think we can take with changing pronunciations of certain words to fit a particular rhyme structure in a song?
I am shocked that Eminem said that, because he is one of the best rhymers on the
He's
planet.
mentioned that. It was an interview of his.
Okay, I have to hear that interview for sure. You can do that, but if you're the stress of the words of each syllable is just as important as the end word. So if it's like feelings, hearing, but if it was like, so you have that first stress the same, and that makes it a stronger syllable. Or if it's a 2-syllable rhyme, I mean, even stronger. It also depends on if you want an exact rhyme. So way, I'm just looking, way and day, way, day, say, those are all exact rhymes. Whereas squeamish and feeling is more of a slant rhyme. So, and that's fine. I mean, and I can definitely hear Eminem talking about that. what I'm looking at your rhyme scheme is every verse should have the same rhyme scheme. So if it's A, for example, A, B, 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 which means the first line and the second line rhyme, the third line and the fourth line and the fifth line rhyme. Or if you have A, B, which would be the first and the third line rhyme and the second and the fourth line rhyme. So when I'm talking about rhyme scheme, that's what I'm talking about, not as much as the exact how to rhyme. So like I'm just even looking at the end of each line, feelings and kind, maybe, yeah. Books, him, not at all, there's no rhyme. Him, feeling, depends how you sing it, like you said. And then if I go, but then your bridge, him and him don't rhyme, but you could, a lot of singers do, that's okay. And real and feel rhyme. So it's kind of an AA, BB. But then your third verse is way, say, days, mean, feeling. So it's AAA, BB. So if it's going to be AAA, BB, then every verse should be AAA, BB, rhyme scheme. Yeah.
Okay. So the pattern needs to repeat.
The pattern, exactly.
Okay.
It can be different, and it should be different it can be different for the bridge, for sure. Okay. But each verse should be the same rhyme scheme or rhyme pattern for each line. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great song. Congratulations. And you know what's interesting about having a voice memo, a phone recording, is that it's kind of sounds like it was intentional. You know, it's a bummer that it's that, so you don't have separate tracks, so you can't edit it. But it's a cool kind of lo-fi vintagey sound that is totally popular in production. So go with it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all. And thanks again, Anoushka. Congratulations.
Thank you so
we're ready to
much.
move forward to our next submission. We have Bistar Kinare, forgive me if I mispronounce this, by Komal Panwar, and we're going to listen to it.
मन था रूठा क्यों कैसे क्या पता दिल को संभाला रोके होना है क्या हाँ धुंधली आँखों ने तुझको सब कह दिया साथी मिले तो कई तुझसा कोई भी न देखा कभी तेरे एहसास दे मुझको यकीन तू कुदरतों में सबसे ही ज्यादा हंसी बिस्तर किनारे है रहता ये ख्वाब देखो तुझे ही तुझे मैं दिन रात कुछ ना बोलूं हाँ सुनती रहूं तुझ में खो के जिंदगी का पाया मैंने सार दूर से देखूं आऊं ना मैं करीब तुझसे बातें करती दूर से ही तू सूरज है मैं तेरी साथी मिले तो कहीं तुझसा कोई भी न देखा कभी तेरे एहसास दे मुझको यकीन तू कुदरतों में सबसे ही ज्यादा हंसी ख्वाब न टूटे कभी ये मेरा तेरी यादों में हो अंधेरा तारों से बातें मैं करती रहो तेरी प्यारी बातें बस मैं सुनती रहूं
Wow.
All right.
Yeah. Are you, Adius, are you, wait.
Yeah, please,
Okay.
please go ahead. I'm good. I was just lost in the song.
Yeah. Another beautiful song and performance. I would love to hear some type of interpretation for myself, but Adi, maybe you could go first for feedback.
Sure. So firstly, Komal, great job. Overall, I think like there's this sort of childlike innocence that's permeating through the concept and the song. So I think people are comparing this to a Burfi and a PK sort of vibe. So I agree, like it could totally be in a movie with like a very specific sort of scene around it. So that's great. Really, really interesting efforts on the production, like how you kind of shaped all the elements building up the bass line and a lot of cool stuff happening in the bass line where you have this sort of eighth note thing happening and then there's some inversions going on in some sections. So those are great. Really, really beautiful vocal delivery and some of the backing vocals, the way you brought them in, the harmonies, kudos on that. That really stood out for me. And then some of the other things, like there's a descending little melodic line that you do towards the end of, I think if you want to call it a chorus or that section, that was really interesting as well. One thing I found was that in your mix there was some phasing going on, but I think that is more sort of a very technical thing. Some places your vocals were phasing where it's like there are some sort of conflict in how you recorded them, but that's more of a technical thing that you can fix in your future sort of recordings. Another thing I noted was that there's this da, 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 like that descending line, you do it twice, and then there's another section that you do afterwards, which you've done exactly like the descending line, and then there's this vocal sort of section, and then you do it again in the end. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Hi,
So,
Tony.
yes, now I can hear you. So I felt that you could maybe put it in one place, because sometimes what happens is if you have a very interesting section, if you do it
Okay.
more than once or twice, then it sort of loses its charm. For
Okay.
example, that descending line could have been the ending around like 304 or 309, and then you did, it felt like it was like a sort of false ending, and then you did it again. There was another melody line that came, which I mean,
Okay.
it could be contextual, or there may be like this is a choice. Like there's not like it's a personal choice what you want to do. But I felt like that could have been the ending of the song, because
Okay.
that it's a very strong sort of hook that sort of descends melodically, and
All right.
but then again, if there's a specific reason that you want to bring that that akar line that you bring in the end again.
Mhm.
If there's a
Mhm.
specific reason you want to bring it, that makes sense. But I just felt like you did it just in the section before, and then you did it again. So it just felt like, oh, I heard it again, before. That was the only sort of critique I would give. But overall, amazing job,
Okay.
beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Excellent production. Really, was that you singing as well?
Yes.
Oh, totally pro. Really great
Thank you.
vocal.
Thank you.
Would you be able to do just not an actual translation, but just a interpretation of each of the verses and the chorus? for me?
Definitely, I can. Could you just give me a minute? I'll get the lyrics open so that I can
Sure,
translate.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
And while you're doing that, the rhyme scheme was really strong. That's what I can hear as a and see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. The harmonies are really cool. I was just reading what you had that you used on Terrace to create some of the harmonies, which is really interesting.
Yes.
Like Antares Autotune?
Sorry?
Which Antares plugin?
No, I was going to use it, but I thought of my own harmonies. So I decided against.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Instead of using, okay, got it.
Yes.
Reading the notes that you put. Okay, great. Even better.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so I do have the lyrics in front of me. First, I'll give you a quick context of the lyrics. So in our first session, you had spoken about how there should be a central object. So for me, the central object around my life right now is Krishna. I don't know if many people can relate to it, but so I've been reading the Bhagavad Gita, and I've been really inspired by the way Krishna guides Arjun. And I don't know if you know about it. So Krishna is basically my idol, someone that I look up to. And the entire song is about him, how nobody in the entire universe can love me the way Krishna loves me. So it's just completely about that. And so there's a phrase in the Bhagavad Gita which says that I am the supreme and I am the most beautiful in the entire universe. So there's a specific line which talks about his beauty. It's in the second verse. It's Tu kudraton mein sabse hai zyada hasi. So anyway, I don't want to skip onto the second stanza. I'll start from the beginning. So Man tha rootha kyun kaise kya pata. So the first stanza basically talks about how there is so much sadness in your life, but then you find Krishna and suddenly he understands every single pain that you've gone through, and he understands just everything completely. And suddenly your life changes, and you've met a lot of people in your life, but I have never met anybody who's like you. And the way you make me feel, and it makes me believe that you're the most beautiful in the world. This is actually described in the Bhagavad Gita, that he's supreme and he's the most beautiful, not person, but he's basically God. So he exists, like he's the most beautiful thing. And Bistar Kinare Rehta Khwab. Bistar Kinare is basically by bedside. So right next, when I sleep at night, I always dream about seeing you one day and maybe talking to you, having some sort of conversation with you. And so since I've lost myself in you, I have found the real essence of life. And finally, getting to the final stanza, it talks about when I look at you, I look at you from afar, I can't come close to you. You are like the sun and I am your light. And then the stanza repeats. And the final one, I hope that this dream never comes to an end. And, the sun sets and I can talk to you through the stars and I can keep listening to your beautiful voice and the most amazing things that you teach me. So these amazing things that I'm being taught are through Bhagavad Gita. And yeah, so this is the entire meaning of the song.
Excellent. Thank you so much for interpreting that for me. It's really beautiful. And I think that just understanding a little bit more deeply what the song is about, I can say too that prosody wise, in terms of the melody and harmony choices, it really works and matches well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, nice work. Beautiful.
All right. Well, fantastic job, Komal. Thank you so much for this. We're ready to move forward to our next submission. Moving forward, we have Birds by Esther Pottakkal. Esther, are you here with us? Just making sure that She's here. In the meantime, you can go ahead and listen to her submission. Hello, Esther. How you doing? Sorry, I just interrupted this, just making sure that this was linked to the right submission. Is this the right submission that we're listening to?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Okay, one second. I'm gonna have my colleague Bree help me out here. Bree, could you kindly resend the link in the chat? I'll be able to take it over from there.
Yeah. In just a minute.
My apologies, Esther. Just technical difficulties here.
All right, Daniel, there you go.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we got it. Enjoy.
Why do I cry when birds fly away from me? So sad to see them fly away to a better place far away from me. It's so sad to see them go away. They go away. Birds of a feather, they flock together, it's just the way it is. And I'm not one to complain about the natural order of things, but I wonder if I could fly, what would I do or where would I go? Would I dare to go beyond what I know, or would I stop myself? Really wonder why do I cry when birds fly away from me? So sad to see them fly away to a better place far away from me. I'm glad to see them go.
Yay. Is Esther gonna come on?
Oh, she's here.
Oh, great. Hello. Wonderful. Beautiful song. One of the things I love about it so much is the melody is so strong, and the fact that you were able to do so much over so few chords, and very simple chords. It speaks to your ability of writing strong melodies, and it sounds like this is one of the first songs you've written.
This is the first song I've ever written. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it's just such a it's hard to write catchy melodies, and this will be stuck in my head the rest of the day. And it's very it does remind me of, it could definitely fit into a musical theater show for sure. Yeah.
That's actually my favorite genre of music. Musical
Ah, I can hear it. Yes. Yeah, consider writing for musical theater. It's like I mean, it's a great genre to be in. Trying to think of something more critical to say. While Adi, I'm sure has, it's just, I like it because it's so simple. I think that, you know, you could add, without ruining kind of the, I mean, you could add more story to it and show us some more. I mean, you could do it in a bridge, you could do it in the second verse. Because right now it's just a really nice feeling. And then I think I could get a little bit more detail on what you're referring to. And yeah, could do it in bridge too. Adi?
Yeah, so I agree with Valerie fully. Like the shape of your melodies is so beautiful, and the way you delivered them as well, really, really wonderful. I also like the way your two sections, they sort of contrast. The first one is very bright and happy, and then the second one there's these really interesting harmonic choices, and your melodies are also like riding over them. So that was very, very interesting how you sort of played with that. Um, Really, really interesting choice of instrumentation. Double bass, you went with a double bass sample? Is she there?
Did we lose her? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So sorry, I completely lost what you said.
no
My network.
worries.
Uh,
Yeah, maybe my network, I don't know. So I said that a very interesting choice of instrumentation. Did you choose a double bass sample is what I can hear? Yeah, an
no,
acoustic bass?
so I used the MIDI instrument
Right,
on the
yeah.
so I used my laptop keypads to kind of punch in
Yeah, yeah. Okay, no,
the
I get that. Very
so it
interesting
was
bass line, the way
just
you kind
four
of shaped.
notes. Yeah. So
Yes. No, but interesting choice of the instrument that you chose is what I'm saying. It's really going and complementing the style and the aesthetic of what you're going for. Did you pan it to the left, the bass?
yeah, I just did that.
So yeah, so very, very interesting because normally I mean, the traditional way of like putting the bass and the kick and a lot of the low end instruments, we put them in the center. But there's something for you to know that that's the more sort of conventional thing to do. But obviously there are no rules. Like if you want to sort of go with another sort of style, or you want to put an instrument in a very non-conventional way and treat it in a way that's totally cool as well. So that's something that I was just curious to know why you chose that. That's great. In the mix, there are a lot of mid frequencies. So there's a lot of like stuff clouding in the mid range. So see if you want to clean that up, if at all you want to try to sort of dive over there. So just some things on the technical end. Now, overall, like really nice chord progressions. I love the harmonic choices, the shape of the melodies. Yes, and I agree with Valerie. I think we want to know more about what do these birds mean to you? Like, what is the story around that? Like, the image is really beautiful, but then what are we trying to like sort of say, or what is the sort of unique idea that appeals to you, or what are you trying to kind of portray through this imagery? Is if there's more that we can unravel, that would be nice as well.
You did the whole production on BandLab?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay. So Adi, it's so good to hear your feedback, like kind of your criticism or kind of taking apart the production, because it didn't usually it distracts me, production that's not like fully thought out or thought they're done. But this, I was so focused on the vocal melody, like everything else just kind of fell away because it was so strong.
Yeah.
I do think that did you teach BandLab in the series? There was a couple of people that used BandLab because is that what happened, that Adi, that it was?
No, we were just talking general, like we were just talking general aesthetics. We weren't going with a particular DAW or a program or any tool. It's more general ideas of production. But since she's, put some things together, I just thought I'll just add a few things here and there. Sometimes, just to kind of pay attention to in the future. That's all. But it's nothing. I mean, this is not a final production. So anyway, that just, wouldn't matter. But while we're sort of learning, because a lot of us are writers and producers, and we're doing everything in the box at the same time. So sometimes these little things can help, but nothing
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
coming in the way of the song at all.
Yeah, and like Adi said, I mean, there's no rules, but there's definitely tools and there's
Exactly.
places to start. So if you are making a choice, like, panning the bass to the left, you want to have like a reason for doing that, because it will mess with the other frequency. You have to pay attention to all the frequencies of all the instruments. I would suggest, since this is your first time producing anything, that it shows that you have a lot of potential, and I would suggest investing in a DAW, like Logic Pro would be really good, or even GarageBand, which if you have a Mac, it comes with it already, but Logic would be a great place to start, and you'll have a lot more control than you do with BandLab. And it's pretty straightforward, but yeah. Excellent.
But yeah, whatever you pull through with those limited tools is pretty amazing, and great songwriting as well. So I think you're on a very good path. Good start.
Thank you so much. This has been
Maybe one way to
great encouragement for me. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. My
you,
network's really bad.
Oh, okay. If you're considering continuing working on the song, one way to kind of come up with a story, if you don't have it already, is to think about, especially if you're into musical theater, is to think about what is the whole play? What's the story of the whole show? And what scene would birds play in that show? And tell the story from there. And you could just make it up. It doesn't have to be a actual thing that you experienced, but get in the characters of the show.
That's actually really helpful. I was gonna ask about how to like add more context to it. Yeah, I also felt like it lacked a lot of specificity, like my writing, and I kind of sort of forced words into the melody, because the melody came first and then the lyrics. So that was what I was going through at the time. I was struggling, but I just kind of put whatever I could into it.
That's great. That's a great first draft. And then now it's all about the rewriting. Writing is rewriting. So now it's like, okay, so what's the story? And you can even sit down and just write the story in prose, and just in your journal, just, writing the story, just like you would with object writing, just free writing. Okay, this character and this character, and then come up with a little story. Don't make it you don't want to write the whole show. You just want to write the one scene. What happens in 2 minutes between these two characters, or the main character and looking up at the birds? I mean, think of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, for example, perfect example. So, and look at those songs that you really like in musical theater, and see how they tell a story in such a short time. Because it is really focused on storytelling, but then it's specifics, but then it's also getting across one central emotion.
Yes, I'll keep those in mind. Thank you so much for the feedback. It's been really helpful.
Great work.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Adi and Valerie. Thanks so much, Esther. Congratulations on the submission. We are ready to move forward with the next. Moving forward, we have Divine by Amalia Arregui Gomez from Santo Domingo. Amalia, are you here with us? All right. Well, while we wait for her to get promoted to a panelist, we're going to go ahead and listen to Divine. So please enjoy.
Imagine
All right. Wow.
Wow, it is.
Really awesome. Amelia, hello.
Thank you.
Awesome. Gorgeous production, really lush, totally works prosody wise with the lyrics, the story. Vocal delivery, was that you singing also? Whew. All right, got some singers in this group. Love it. One thing I would say, I mean, this sounds like it's finished. It doesn't sound like you might keep working on it. I would say just moving forward when you're writing, think more or check that your sections are contrasting with each other as much as possible. So what I would do with this, if I were to rewrite it, would be to lower the melody of the verses, because everything is kind of up here and it's gorgeous. It creates this great tension. So when those drums come in, you're like, yeah, it's like a total release and it's working. But I think there could be even more build throughout the song if the verses were, the melody was lower in pitch. That's my main thing about this. Yeah. Adi?
Yeah, for me, this song really stood out, in terms of like the way you kind of shaped it, like really great vocal delivery, and the way you work with the voices. Like there's so much sort of raw material you've taken from your voice, and the layers that you keep adding as different sections build, they are absolutely amazing. I think the main thing here is like it's a very synth-based production. Synth and voice is like your main elements. In terms of the mix, I think that's more technical, but definitely there's the synth, because what happens with synth patches and sounds is that they're really broad in terms of their spectral, the amount of, the frequency spectrum they take up. So they're competing with the voice a little bit and then because you have so many layers of the voice as well. So I think that's where some of it's more technical, where you'll have to shape a little bit of the EQ and how you're kind of bringing them together. Another thing is with some of the synths, they're like really in your face, and the voice is behind. If you're going for that, that's totally cool. Otherwise, maybe if you want to add a bit more depth in the mix by adding a bit more reverb and placing your synth sounds a little bit in the back, and then the vocals can sort of have a little bit more shape and spread them out a bit more. So I think that will add a lot more to the emotion and the kind of the vibe and the aesthetic that you're going for. I think that would be great. Love how expansive your choruses are. There's this high melody that you bring in, but it doesn't sound shouty, because you're going for this like very intense sort of open sound, but it doesn't sound shouty like it can, in terms of delivery. That was spot on. I think here I was hearing it in mono, but I think the bass is panned to the right. Can you correct me if I'm wrong?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
So I was saying that it seemed like the bass was panned to the right.
I don't
But
know.
yeah,
Remember.
no worries. Just check in on that and see if when you put the bass in the center of the mix, how does that feel? Because what's happening is for majority of your track, there is no other rhythmic element. Like I know the kick comes in later, but if the bass is sort of holding like that central sort of thing together, place it in the center. How does that feel? Does it work, or does it take away from the song, or you want to place it, on the side? The other thing was that the kick, personally, I felt it came a little bit too late, because it sort of came in and teased you and then it sort of went away. Maybe you can experiment bringing it a little bit earlier when, you go to your second verse or something, or the second pre-chorus, and see how that kind of helps you build the song. Because what's happening is that you kind of towards the end of the song and you're feeling it's almost going to sort of end, and then the kick comes in. So again, that's an aesthetic choice. Sometimes you can surprise the listener and they're not expecting something at all, and then suddenly it's like, whoa, where did that come from? The other way is that you sort of, when those elements are building up. There's this sort of tension coming in, and then that kick comes in. I think when that kick came in, a lot of people were commenting on the chat as well, where they were like, "Whoa, whoa, what's happening?" So that is an element of surprise that you can use to your advantage and see where exactly do you want to place it and how do you want to use it to build. And these are again like experiments and aesthetic choices and see what works. But like this is a smashing song. Like you really have something special with this song. Yep.
Yeah, and I think it is important to look at where especially when drums come in after all this time not coming in. But I did like the choice of where you put it, that it was way later than you expected, because you just don't expect it to come in at all.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I'm still going back. I was reading just also what you your kind of when you submitted it, that you did choose, it sounds like, to use the same few notes the whole song. So if you're gonna do that, I still think the verse is too similar to the pre-chorus, because or I guess that would be the pre-chorus, because also the lyrics, every single word is held out so dramatically, which is great. Every single word is sustained, but you could have a little bit more variety and still have the same tension. You could have variety in production, but mostly in melody, you have to do it more. And then I wanted to say that I did love the synth that echoed the vocal melody in the pre-chorus. It's really cool. But yeah, it's interesting without having much of a rhythmic element to it. So do you have any questions for us or anything you want to say, Amalia, about the song?
I don't, but I thank you so much for all your feedback. I'll keep that in mind.
Cool. Keep going with writing.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, that was done all in Logic Pro. So really cool. Great work.
Hey, well, excellent work, Amalia. We're ready to move forward to our next submission. So moving forward, we have Nandini Nayal with A Better Place. We're gonna go ahead and listen to it.
I sat down today, it was cold and it rained as I looked through my room for a box. It was dusty cardboard with a green little note. I wish I'd thrown it overboard. And I'm the one who said no, so I won't have to see. But I was wrong, I should have known that love is fast and heart breaks slow. Slow as the clouds lie, drifting through the sky, drinking cherry wine, and I fall as an Icarus, reaching to caress the light. Young as a spring day, turning into May with nothing to say. Oh, I wish you did instead. Living in my head, I'll make you a bed so you can stay
All right. Nice job, Nandini. Let's see. Are you here with us? Just trying to bring Nandini in the panelist room. All right. I
Oh,
think.
there she is.
Oh, there she is. Hi, Nandini. Thanks for
Good
coming
evening.
in. Excellent work.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hey. Awesome. Such a cool song. I love the melodies, I should say. And I love how you really showed a lot, like your lyric writing is strong. The main issue I have with this song is the song form or the song structure. So I don't know, but I mean, like, it's so, some of the parts are da, 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 it's so catchy. And I was like, great, I can't wait to hear that again. But then I didn't hear like the verse again. So I think my question to you is what is the song form? Were you writing like how, because this is kind of like a quick fix if you had another verse or something.
So the thing is, I wrote this song while my examinations are going on, and these are quite important, so I didn't have that much time. The way that I structure my music is I try marrying my music along with my lyrics. I'm a more lyric-oriented writer. But what I intend to do with this song is add this string section, which will probably have a lot of harmonies that will be sort of enveloping the listener. I thought of adding another verse, definitely, but to me, it feels like the lyrics, they've already completed the story. I do intend to add another section though, to add a bit more to the song and, have it fleshed out a bit more.
I just wanted to hear more specifically what's the chorus, what's the verse, what's the chorus, like have a repetitive structure. So verse pre-chorus, chorus, verse pre-chorus, chorus, not to make it like, yeah, I just think it would make the meaning of the song stand out more. There's some really cool, there's some great rhymes here, and storytelling, but it's not so much that you're missing the story as you're missing the structure. That's my main thing, because I really, this song has such great potential. It just needs sectional contrast, like contrast between the whatever the sections are, and clarity around, the verses. I think, like, I don't know if I hear this first. I sat down, it was cold and rained all the way to "and the heart breaks slow." I don't know if I hear that melody again. So anyway, I do like the song. I just wanted to go straight to that because it's I feel like that would be such an easy fix, and then the song would be done.
I'll definitely be working on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the production. Don't do that until the song's done. Finish the song, and then you can worry about adding strings and how you're going to record it and all that stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's beautiful. Your vocal is awesome. Really gorgeous. So many singers. Oh my God. It's great.
Wow. Yeah, I totally agree with Valerie. Write the song first, because so many times you just jump into production and ideas and this and that. A good song should just stand on its own. Somebody can sing and play with an instrument, and a good song is a good song. Like I always love saying, a good song is a good song is a good song. Like there's nothing you need to say more than that, because it should just stand on its own. And any good iconic song, you just play it with a full 100-piece band, orchestra, everything, or just one person singing and playing. The song shines through. So that is like a mark. But anyways, those are very high ideals that we strive for as songwriters. Amazing vocal delivery. Your texture is really matching the vibe and the aesthetic that you're going for. Your melodic arcs are really, really wonderful. For example, "Love is Fast," that part, it descends, and there's this sort of thing that you do. For me, that really stood out nicely. And then there's another section where your melody keeps it keeps rising, right? What part is that? Are you calling it your pre-chorus, or what is sectionally? What are you thinking about?
I thought of it that it would be a sort. I don't really know. I like writing in free verse a lot. So the entire section of the big I sat down today, all the way up to the all the way up to that part. I thought it would be a good verse. After that, I thought the refrain would be the love is fast and heartbreak slow.
That I really like. The refrain for me is like, yeah.
Oh. Wait, which
and
part?
then
Oh, but I was wrong. I should
the love is fast, heartbreak slow. That's the refrain.
Yeah. That's the refrain, right? Yeah, that stood out for me quite a bit because like there's a fast sort of melodic thing, and then you kind of slow down, and then you kind of really shine a light on that, and then you do the section where it keeps rising up melodically.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember in one of the earlier sessions you had mentioned how the chord progression sometimes can really carry what the words are saying. And I think the best example was Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen.
Yes.
The major falls and the minor lift. So in this section, I thought that I would speed it up and then bring it down again because it's an A sharp major, I believe, if I remember correctly. So it becomes faster, and then because love is fast and heartbreak slow. So I really start breaking up and arpeggiating the chords after that. So I thought it'd be a nice idea to do that. But the part where I'm singing quite fast, it's an interesting element I thought of because at this point, there's a climax in whatever emotion I am feeling, correct? So whatever I'm feeling will be a sort of rush. So whatever I wanted to get out on that paper, I wrote it as soon as I could. And whatever I felt in that moment writing it, I translated it to the music. So I don't know if I can call it a set element of the structure of the song, but I guess in a traditional sense, it would be called a bridge. But I think I just like it to be an element of its own. I just call it the fast part.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, and I think in terms of production, like, are you familiar with this artist called Billy Martin?
Yes.
So, some of her albums, like the song Cursive, they have this kind of a way, like it sort of reminded me of that kind of aesthetic. So, see how like they produce these kind of songs where, like like I really like how the piano and the melody, like they're so together. Did you play and sing together? Right?
Yes, I played and sang.
Yeah, because it just feels like they're lining up so well. Like if I were producing the song in a studio, like I would just have you do it together no matter what, because then there's no way of doing like getting the same energy in a multi-track scenario. And then you can even add layers later and all that. But like this piano as a sort of bedrock for the song, harmonic bedrock, and then you add your melodic lines over it. So great choice. And I think this, as Valerie said, that really, really great potential with the song. Good job.
Thank you so much. I had a question, if that's okay.
Sure.
With relation to what Aditya has just said, that recording them together would be better than having a multi-track recording. How do you suppose is the best way to go about a recording such as this? Because of course, there's not a lot of implements I have apart from the mic I have and an interface, which I'll obviously plug into my piano, which is a digital piano. But there'll always be a sort of, I guess, a clash because of the mic picking up the sound of the piano as well. So do you have any tips on how I can reduce that or work around that?
Yeah. See, Valerie, do you want to take that?
I mean, were you saying that she should record it at the same time? You did say that? I don't know. I don't usually recommend that. I recommend doing separate tracks so you can fully edit them and have them isolated. I wouldn't try to do that. Yeah. I think that might have misheard. Yeah. So
yeah, but that's definitely from a technical perspective, it makes it easy to do that. But what I was going for is that, like, for example, like you have somebody who plays guitar and sings, the way when like that happens with me, like if I'm doing like playing and singing, there's this sort of synergy that I have when I'm doing that and when I try to do it separately, it just sort of doesn't line up, that way. So obviously there are ways where you can do it where like you have the right sort of studio environment and the right engineer. They can, separate things out for you. And even if you have a little bit of a bleed, you can always mix things. But yes, as Valerie said, then it has to be that performance. Like you can't edit it. Like the whole performance, you have to take the entire performance as a whole, and then you have to choose the best take. That's one. I mean, I've recorded stuff with like 7-piece band where we've taken, the bits and pieces that like the whole song, as is. Like you have to kind of swallow the whole thing. But yes, in a home scenario, the best way to do it is use a MIDI sound for your keys. So what happens is that you can play your MIDI keyboard and record the MIDI, while you're recording your vocals. So that is your audio signal, and then you can have find the best sample for your piano and then add that on the MIDI. So that way, in a home recording, that's the easiest way. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Nandini.
you. All the best.
Excellent work. Excellent work. All right. Well, I think we're ready to listen to our last submission before we announce the winners. Okay. So next we have Shivang Arora with Too Weak to Kill. Shivang, if you're in the room, please feel free to come on screen. In the meantime, we're going to listen to your submission.
The moonlight falls on the silver lake of blood that taints it red. The dawn has come to realize that you are wanted dead. Your decimated dreams are waiting for you in your grave. It wouldn't take too long for death to take it all away. Inside your head are louder every day. They don't wanna live with you, they hate your fucking face. The whole world keeps on telling you that you're such a disgrace.
Fire, Shivang. Fire.
Oh, I think you're muted.
I am?
No, Shivang, I think is
Oh,
muted.
okay.
Oh yeah.
Love it. I love it.
Am I audible now?
Oh, that we hear you now. Okay, awesome.
All right, thank you so much for this honor.
Yeah. So great writing, lyrically, also form-wise, I felt was really strong. It was very clear, the sections, what was the verse, what was the chorus. Great opening line, Moonlight Falls on the Silver Lake. I have a couple of things that I would do as you're continuing to work on this. I would say at some point, like the fourth verse, what I'm calling the fourth verse, if it's verse 1, 2, chorus, verse 3, 4. So they want to live with you. I would rewrite that chorus or verse and use that as a chance to say a little bit more about what is wrong with this person. Like, because all we hear the whole song is like, you suck, but maybe like I don't know, something that's a little bit more, that shows a little bit more, not just why this person is so terrible. Instead of like, oh, but you're a disgrace. Like we already hear that, the first half of the song. I like that you have your mirrors are broken and your shadows turn away. That's a great way to show it. But then now we need a little bit of story. I mean, you could even take 2 verses to do that. And then the other thing I wanted to say was that the chorus should be twice as long. And you can either do it by spreading out, like, no one's ever wanted you. Wait. And you can even have an echo, no one's ever wanted you. And then what makes you think they ever will. And wait, and then, or you could double the chorus. The only thing is that if you doubled it and just repeated it, which you did at the end, it didn't make it stronger to me. I think that because it's the same timing as that, like phrasing wise as the verses, it would be stronger if you were able to just spread out those 3 lines over twice the amount of time, twice the amount of bars. Yeah. It's just it's a great rock song, a great vocal delivery. I think that I think the production is a great start, but it would have to be like a stronger mix. And I'm only saying this because all of these details is because the song is great. So I can like dig in a little bit deeper to, okay, so how do we make it even better? Like, it's a good song. How do you make it great? Kind of thing. Yeah, go ahead, Adi. I know I could probably talk for a little bit longer, but
yeah. So yeah, as you know, Valerie said, great songwriting, really great selection of the way you're developing your ideas and how you're shaping them. As she said, I echo with her, where maybe like a bridge or something it could just add a little bit more sort of dimension to the story, and then obviously harmonically, rhythmically, there's a lot more room to play with if you're bringing in a contrasting idea. That could also work. I think overall very strong sort of a song. The chorus is really punchy, and I like the higher octave melodic line that you bring in to add like that weight to the chorus, and it really brings that grunge Nirvana kind of feel and vibe to it. Really nice guitar work as well. Like, how you have like one sort of acoustic guitar thing or something comes in, and then there's this sort of tremolo-ish kind of guitar comes in on the second layer. I just heard there was one or two notes that were out of tune on that second guitar that came in. Sorry, I'm getting very technical here. So some of the lower notes on that one, just check on that. The mix definitely needs work, because what's happening is when you add distorted guitars, again, as I said, with synths, like their spectrum is really wide, and because of the overtones, they take up a lot of space. So just see how you're working with that, because at some points, like even in where the guitar solo or the melody line that comes in, that is even louder than the drums. Overall, the drums are a little softer. So because given the genre, if you add a bit more compression, do like a bit of a parallel compression on the drums, and have a little bit more beef in the drums, that would really bring the punch stronger in that way. I just felt like it was very thin overall, the mix. It's very guitar, and that like maybe 1K to 5K heavy, very much everything is sort of over there. Just see like if, how you can spread that out, add a little bit more on the low end, and just clean that up a little bit. But yeah, overall like super fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to
And I
add
like
also.
Question, if
the
you don't mind.
theme. Yeah.
So
Sorry.
sorry. So like you said that the song needs a little bit more of story. But if suppose I'm planning this to be a part of an album where the whole story is told in different songs, so does it still need that?
It still needs a story. It doesn't have to be the whole, it's not, it's a story. There's a story there, but you need something specific. And the story and the song, regardless of the album, the song has to stand on its own. You don't need to tell, like I was talking to the person who was writing kind of more musical theater style, like you don't want to show the whole play, but just one's more specific, like we got the point within 2 verses. So you do the other 2 verses, you can really take it into something a little deeper. So the album's going to be wide. Each song has to be deep. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
I love the harmony choices, by the way, vocal harmonies. It was really dark. I like that. I love those kind of harmonies, tense.
Thank you.
Very nice.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Shivang. Excellent work. So I think we're ready for this.
Yeah, right on time.
Right on time. So what we're gonna do, I just have prepared another slideshow with the 3 winners that we'll be announcing. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody one more time for attending these 4 sessions. I would like to thank all of you who taken the time into songwriting and producing and submitting these works for a review. I would like to thank my team, Jason and Bree. I would like to thank Adi and Mega at GMI, as Valerie, for all your work and all your time. This has been fantastic. And I would like to remind everybody how hard this has been one more time. There's been a lot of discussion over tightening in the circle of the submissions to 6. That was really, really hard. Even harder was to tighten that circle from 6 to 3. So to everybody, I'd like to say one more time, excellent work. Please keep it up and stay in touch with the team so that, if you have any questions about songwriting, about production, about GMI, about Berklee, you know where to find us, okay? So you're gonna have to bear with me because I'm slow, but I am.
While you're doing that, I can just say a couple things.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, it was really great to hear your work. I had the opportunity to hear at least 10 songs, and I just want to thank you for committing to the series and coming every time it met, and then really working to apply what you learned to these songs, and then listening to feedback. Because I have to say, getting feedback on something that you really love, that you worked hard on, and kind of being able to take that criticism in is really, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a talent, it's a skill.
Definitely.
And we only give feedback when there's something worth giving feedback to. If it wasn't a good song to start with, if you hadn't done good work, there would be nothing to really say. Be like, well, pass. So thank you for listening to our feedback, and take it or leave it. Really, ultimately do what you want.
Exactly. Really well put. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you so much for that. I learned so much, just in these sessions with you. So thank you for that.
Me too,
yeah, really, really enjoyed. Yes. And thank you, Daniel, Bree, Jason. As always, it's a pleasure working with you all. It's like, it's a breeze. It's so easy. You make it so easy, So thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. So before we open this up, I would like to encourage everybody to follow Berklee Global on Instagram, as well as Global Music Institute. If you don't, make sure that you do right now. I just shared the links to Instagram, and then we're ready for this. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so without further ado, our first winners, and again, we're going to be announcing 3 winners that are going to be featured on GMI and Berklee Global social medias and website. So congratulations, huge round of applause, virtual applause to Amalia for her work on Divine. Okay, Amalia, if you want to come on screen and join this congratulatory event, please feel free to do so. All right. Well, probably next time. All right. Yeah, at any time, those, the names that we announced, feel free to come on screen. If you have any questions, we'd love to see you one more time. But again, Amalia, great work on Divine. Thank you for doing this. Congratulations. Please keep it up. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. So good.
Sure. Congratulations. All right. Are we ready for the next?
Yeah.
Huge round of virtual applause also goes to Anoushka for Yeah, That Feeling. Congratulations, Anoushka. Come on screen and say hi. All right. Well, congratulations. Huge shout out.
Awesome, Anoushka.
Fantastic work on this. I really enjoyed all of these submissions. And then last but not least, are we ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Submission is Shivang with 2 Week to Kill. Congratulations.
Great work, everybody.
All right. Well, I'd like to reiterate that we just cannot wait to visit in person, to be there in person. So we're looking into doing that hopefully next year. We're doing this online. This was an incredible amount of fun, but we really can't wait to be there in person and see your faces and shake your hand and play with you. So one more time, please stay connected and connect with our team. If you have any questions, keep it up, continue writing great music, continue producing great music, and stay connected with Adi, with Valerie, with me, Bree, Jason, and we'll see you soon, like very, very soon. This was a lot of fun. Any closing remarks, Adi and Valerie?
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Again, as I said, thank you to the entire team for making this so easy and wonderful. And thank you, everybody, for being a part of this and joining us in this sort of experiment and seeing, submitting your entries and, being open to feedback, because those are really valuable things. And then, as Valerie said, it's hard to be on the spot and then, just be open and vulnerable, sharing your music and art in that way. So please, stay in touch, stay connected, because this big community is what we're trying to build around music, so that we can all share what we really love and care about with music. So yes, with that, thank you so much, Valerie. Any closing remarks?
Thank you. Echoed all of that. I hope that I get to go to India, Daniel. Just send me. I want to meet y'all in person.
All right, let's do this. Let's make this happen.
For myself. And I some of you reached out on Instagram, so you could keep doing that. I'm on Instagram, and of course, I'm a professor at Berklee, so hopefully you guys get to come to Boston sometime too. Thanks.
All right. Thank you all. Okay, so just one final reminder that the team will be working hard to produce the certificates for all those of you who have attended all 4 sessions. Okay, so please allow some time. These may take probably about a week maximum to just filtering and just finding out who are the ones that attended all 4 sessions, producing the certificates, and having our team send each and every one of you your certificates. So again, stay connected, and I hope to see you all soon. Okay, thank you, Adi. Thank you, Valerie, one more time. Thank you all.
Congratulations.
Bye.
Congratulations to you all. Bye-bye.